Well, it's Saturday. I'm dressed in my robe. Everyone has a day off for the most part. So you know what? I'm going to celebrate the fact that I have a day off today, like everyone else, by doing what I did last Saturday. What did I do last Saturday, if you remember? Folks, class is in session. Or class in session is the name of the this brand of videos I am doing. And I completely forgot to start everything off with a little high act of kindness. Man, I'm on fire today. So, let's see. What was my low? I guess my low is like, lately I've been trying to see if I can get something at the store, and like, no matter where I go, it's like just not there. For those of you guys who are wondering what it is, like, it's been years and years and years since I've had this, but I've been really wanting to try corned beef hash. Like, yes, the stuff that comes out of a can. Yes, I remember having it at the Wagner, actually, was the very first time I ever had it. And I remember really liking it. And, like, I'd have some form of hash here or there. For those of you guys who don't know, corned beef hash is essentially like a mixture of like ground up corned beef, or it could be roast beef hash or any kind of hash with like potatoes and seasonings, and boom, there you go. That's what hash is supposed to be. Nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary for those of you who are a little bit on the deviant side. Right. So I've been trying to find it everywhere I go, but like no one has it. Like Walmart didn't have any. You know, I never checked Tops. I could probably check Tops. Even Mother Wegmans, they didn't have it either. Seriously, I was like just there. Like, yes, I got dressed, went out, tried to see if I could find any at Wegmans, but I'd come back here and put this bathrobe on. Even though technically I was already dressed for the day. I'm actually wearing my regular clothes. I'm wearing regular clothes underneath this robe, in case anyone's wondering. Right. So, long story short, you know, I've been trying to, my low is, I can't find any corned beef hash anywhere. Like, again, I've been looking everywhere, simply can't seem to find it. You know, let the chips fall wherever they may, I suppose. My high, on the other hand, was, I've been meaning to do something about the, like, tickle my throat I have, so while I was out, I actually got myself some Theraflu. I actually tried it for the first time. It's not bad. I like it. And I literally just had some before I started this video. And, I mean, nothing's gone wrong. Hold on a second. Got a knock on wood right there. And yes, in terms of another high that's going on, today is actually my grandmother and my grandfather's 68th wedding anniversary. Yeah, they've been married for 68 years. My grandmother and grandfather on my father's side, I should explain. So I went and got them. So keep this a secret, but I'm going to be getting them a card, and that's going to be my act of kindness for tomorrow. But my act of kindness for yesterday, actually, I just got to hang with my grandma a lot yesterday. That was it. We got to talk. It was nice. Honestly, people should talk to their grandparents more. I really think like that'd be like a big lifesaver for like the future and stuff. So, yes, without further ado, let's get into good morning, happy Saturday, everybody. And now class is in session. So, for those of you guys who don't remember what happened last time I did this, I basically, I've had, you know, many memorable classes, teachers, etc. throughout my time at Horseheads and Trinity-Pawling. So I figured, since I would be in school around this time of year, not this time of week, mind you, but, you know, this time of year, and since I'm away from Cuca Lake, I figured, why not talk about my experiences with, you know, going to school? Because, I mean, listen, kids, if you're watching this, every adult you'll ever know was a kid at some point. And there's a very high probability that they received some form of education. What they decide to do with it or whether or not they finish, that was entirely up to them. But the point is, if you're going through any struggles going through school now, believe me, I hear you. But that's a part of life, I suppose. So, on that sort of depressing note, how about I talk about a class that was memorable for me, not specifically in the best possible way. Now, this is a class that I took at Horseheads, and technically, this is a two-parter. Yes. However, for this two-parter, I actually had two different teachers. So I'll talk about one half of the class, dealing with one teacher, and I'll deal with the other half the next time. So I'll make this an ongoing series, if you will. A part of me thought about doing functional analysis and trigonometry at Trinity-Pawling simply because I already talked about math last time. But I figured I'll save that one for its own video, because whenever I do one of these videos, I want to make sure, if it's a class, I want to make sure, the teacher was different. That's what I'm ultimately trying to get at. And for this two-parter, there was two separate classes, and that is Global 1 and Global 2. I'll be talking about Global 1 today. Now, funny enough, for those of you guys who don't know what global is, basically it's global history. Global 1 is essentially ancient civilizations, the Egyptians and the Greeks, stuff like that. And Global 2 is more modern day world history. World War I, World War II, the Cold War. Excuse me. Relations between other countries, stuff like that. But, this is Global 1. It deals more with ancient civilizations. And funny enough, I actually met my teacher long before I actually had this person as a teacher. Because, as fate would have it, he was my football coach. Well, one of the assistant coaches, but yeah. And I said before many times, I really was never good at football. I made peace with the fact that I really wasn't as good as I thought I was. But, because I took Global 1 and Global 2 when I was a freshman. So when you're a freshman going in, life is already difficult as it is. And the fact I was playing football really didn't do myself any favors. But having a teacher who was also your coach and yelling at you, during practice to get moving, get stuff done, as you can imagine, that was a hoot and a half, right? Okay, you're probably thinking, okay, I had the worst teacher ever at this point, right? Well, here's the thing regarding the teacher in question. I'm looking at this as a rather objective standpoint, but let's say that I did not have this teacher as my football coach. Let's say you took that completely out of the equation. How was he? He was actually pretty cool. Pure and simple, he really was a good teacher overall. I mean, the fact that he was my football coach really also kind of, it was a guy. I don't think I'd explain that. The fact that, he was my football coach really kind of made things awkward. Especially when there was one time I was sleeping during class and he picked up a textbook and slammed it in front of me. Woke up and seriously, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I just be and he's staring directly at me. I'm like this. He's looking at me it was not fun. And needless to say, later, because I was sleeping in his class, we had to run during football practice. Oh, I was not a very well-liked individual that day, ladies and gentlemen. But overall, if I just took the whole football thing out of the equation, he really was a good guy. He was. A little blunt, a little bit hard-nosed. But, when he liked you and you were clearly trying to be a good student, he was okay. He was pretty good. Although, the only other real legitimate great memory I have of this class is, for like the final sort of project, he really didn't do much in the realm of like keeping grades or whatever. Like, I think I had like a 93 leaving that class or something. But like, my final like sort of presentation was I had to do a oral report on a historical, figure. There was like lots of issues. In fact, I think I may have told the story before, but everything I know about Alexander the Great and the impact he had on the ancient world was from doing this very final project that I'm speaking of right now. To put things in perspective, one thing, without Alexander the Great, you actually wouldn't have Cleopatra. Believe it or not, when Alexander the Great was, old and, dying, he divvied up his land, he actually gave his land, part of the land that was in Egypt, to Cleopatra's ancestors. So, yes, without Alexander the Great, you would not have Cleopatra. Interesting, isn't it? With that being said, the project, the oral report was supposed to be like, 10, 11 minutes. And I remember going, I really wanted to, this was like well after I was done playing football for that season, obviously. But I really wanted to, make my teacher realize I was a good student. I did work hard, and he did see that. He really did. And I went completely all out trying to do this oral project because I wasn't even halfway through speaking through the entirety of what I had written and was going to speak or say. And then, he says, Nick, it's been 13 minutes since you started. And I was really only about halfway through. Oh, man. Well, if nothing else, he saw I did a good job, and I definitely put in the time and effort into everything I did in this class. So, yeah. So, that's really everything I know about, remember about Global One that was of, great significance. And, we had a few, debates too. Sometimes we just simply, talked and hung out for a little while in class. It was for the most part, again, it was incredibly awkward, the fact that he was my football coach. But for the most part, if you took that out of the equation, my Global One teacher was a really chill guy. So, I can't believe I actually met, I said I had legendary faculty members. When I said legendary faculty members, they're legendary in the sense that they had to put up with me. Okay? They're legends in their own right. Oh, I wasn't a bad student. I tried not to be a bad student. I actually tried getting to class on time, did all my work, etc., etc. But, I see all my teachers that I remember the most in, very high regard. And for better or for worse, I really do see this teacher as someone who, he wasn't, the most warm, but he was pretty chill enough where you could approach him, you could talk to him. He was good. Pretty good. I really can't say anything. You know what? That actually does remind me. Oh, darn it. I forgot. And it actually leads up to what I'm saying. Believe it or not, there's an old episode of SpongeBob where it starts off as it's Leif Erikson Day. Believe it or not, Leif Erikson Day is an actual holiday. It was yesterday, October 9th. Yeah, yesterday was Leif Erikson Day, and guess where I learned it? In Global One. Funny how things are all coming together, isn't it? Today's October 10th, yesterday was October 9th, so yeah. Sorry I forgot to celebrate Leif Erikson Day with you guys. I guess, see, even now these classes that that I took over the years at Horseheads and Trinity-Pawling have impacted me because to this day I still remember when Leif Erikson Day is. So, yeah. It really does go to show that not every class that you have is going to be memorable in the best possible way. Again, take Global One. The guy was my football coach. He'd actively yell at me in the afternoon after school was over. So, so the relationship is already kind of on the awkward side. But that doesn't mean you don't learn to take anything. That doesn't mean you can't take away anything from it in a positive manner. I clearly just did. So yeah, that is everything about Global One that I remember that was, again, really important. The only other thing I could mention is, like, the only other person who was in my class that I legitimately knew was actually my high school quarterback. Yeah, my teammate was in my class with me. My the guy who ended up being quarterback at Horseheads. So, small world, isn't it? This class is actually a lot more memorable than I remember. Cool. Like, favorite, share, hit the subscribe button, follow me on social media, turn notifications on YouTube. I'm very holding this video for all of you guys who watch and enjoy today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And remember, if you guys want to talk, a channel is going to be here to lend you all. Always be back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.